Hey there, Internet friends. Welcome to another episode of That Nerdy Site Show, a weekly podcast where the team members from That Nerdy Site get together to talk about our lives and all of the nerdy things we love about them. If you were listening to this is our February early access episode for our patrons. Apologies for not getting out in February. PAX ended up being a little bit busier than we were anticipating it would be, but we're getting this out as soon as we can, early March. So that you got it there. You'll still get kind of the exclusive access for the month window that we promise you as a Patreon supporter. If you're listening to this outside the window, thank you for checking out our podcasts. This is a perk that any one of our patrons who support us at patreon.com/thatnerdysite get. They get a bonus episode of That Nerdy Site Show every month. Joining me this week, we have the team here at PAX East 2020. We're recording this live, quote-unquote, from the hotel room. I've got Frank Bazzani with me. How you doing, Frank?
Good.
We got Christian Puente, a.k.a. Pixel Brave. How you doing, Christian?
Squirtle Squad up in here.
Indeed, Squirtle Squad all the way. We got Cameron Abbott.
Hey, what's going on, nerds?
What's going on? And we got Logan Wilkinson. How you doing, Logan?
Doing good. How you doing?
Doing good. It's been we're recording this day 3 of PAX, the Saturday night. It's already March 1st now because we've been talking about stuff, but we're having a great time. It's been a great week here at PAX. We got one more day to go, and it's been great being here with everybody. For this month's early access episode, we kind of thought, since we're all here, it might make sense to kind of do a continuation of the January early access episode where Logan and I talked about our... sorry if there was a thud there. Logan just jumped out of a seat.
Jumping with excitement.
Indeed. Logan and I kind of talked about some of our favorite PAX memories. So now that we've got Christian, Cameron, and Frank around the table as well, we thought we'd dive into some of theirs because they've certainly been coming to PAX for a little while as well. So, real quick before we get into that, though, I want to remind you that if you like what you hear, please like, rate, subscribe, review the podcast everywhere you can. We're on iTunes, we're on Spotify, we're hopefully all the places you would want to listen to us. And if you aren't already a Patreon supporter of us, you can support us over at Patreon, patreon.com/thatnerdysite. Just like our wonderful Patreon producers, James L. and Jason Bellevue have. Let's dive right in. Frank, tell us about kind of when you started coming to PAX and what some of your favorite PAX memories are.
Yeah, so my first PAX was PAX South 2016.
I remember it well.
Yeah. I guess honestly, so that was my first, and I've been to many since then that I'm pretty sure we'll probably dive into, but kind of, I guess the first thing that even sparks right off in my head with there when we're talking about good memories or just PAX memories is that's you and I and a couple of other of our friends decided to go to that trip about 2 weeks ahead of time?
Yeah, something like that, 2 or 3 weeks before PAX South 2016.
We were all in in the Twitch chat just talking about, like, you came in and we're like, hey, is anybody going to PAX?
Hey, I'm thinking of going to PAX at the end of the month. Yeah, I think I talked about that on last month's episode because I had just been broken up with, so I was like, I'm going to have money now. I've got disposable income. Let's see. I think I tried to submit for media for Trevor Trove, but they turned me down. But just anyway, I was like, well, I'm still going to try and go and cover it like I would if I was media. And does anybody want to come with me? So I'm not doing this by myself. And yeah, you were one of the people that jumped in there.
And that's
that was before we met or any of that stuff. I think, yeah,
because we had talked online for probably nearly a year at that point, maybe because that's when I started. 2015 at some point was when I started being way more active in like online, especially in like the Kind of Funny community. And so that's when we that was the first time I was actually able to go out. And, we had met in person, and then I was able to meet a bunch of other people, like Zyger and like Sean Pitts and, just everybody else who's kind of in our huge crew out there. Mm-hmm. And like that, and even Christian. Yeah, that was the first time I met Christian too, now that I think about it, because it's hard to even remember because I've, it's been so many years since then, but we were just waiting in line, and Christian walked by, like, with his camera, and was like, on his way to go film a bunch of stuff, and then, like, I've just, like, and now it's been, like, so many years since then, so many other conventions.
Yeah. And Andy was there too, Andy Cortez.
Oh my god, yeah. And then that was when he got hired at Rooster Teeth.
Exactly, yeah. That was he was starting at Rooster Teeth like the Monday after PAX or whatever, so we kept introducing him. Have you met Andy Cortez from Rooster Teeth?
And I even had him, I remember that was the first time I had him, he signed my badge, so my badge from that year still says, Andy Hart.
Yeah, because you also had Ray sign your badge too, right?
Yeah.
Ray Narvaez.
Yeah, which was awesome too, because that was the first time I was ever able to meet him too, and at that point too, I was still, a pretty big, Achievement Hunter Rooster Teeth fan, and, Ray was my favorite, so,
and he hadn't left yet.
Yeah.
Ray was everybody's favorite, that's why he left.
Yeah. But yeah, I talked about on the show last month that that was the first time you'd ever been on a plane, so I booked it all for you.
Yeah, totally.
And that was the first time I found out your real first name, which came up again when we were walking around the other day. Amerigo, basically.
Yeah, it's Amerigo Cesare Francesco.
Yeah, super Italian.
Oh, absolutely,
Frank Bazzani. But yeah, I remember.
Wait, what's your first name?
Amerigo. What?
This is the first time I've ever...
You didn't know about this?
No, this has never been brought up in front of me. I've known you for years.
Yeah.
And this story I've never been in the room or conscious or sober when this story has been told. What?
Yeah, that's because I have this super Italian name, and those are our family names, and at this point I'm the only boy, so I basically have all of them besides the ones that my dad has. And
so what's your dad's name?
Carlo, and I forget his middle name, but his name also very Italian, also goes by an English version. Everybody in my family has a very Italian name, and we all just go by some American normal name because. One of my middle names is Francesco, and that's where Frank comes from. I've never gone by any of those other names. I've gone by Frank forever, and that's why you get into this whole confusing situation.
Yeah, because I specifically said send me the name because I'm gonna have to book your ticket, but send me the name as it is on your driver's license. I made clear that before knowing any of this. So I was like, "This is your name." Okay.
Was your first instinct to be "Oh, Frank, just give me your real name"?
No, I mean,
I don't think he knew what kind of character I was at that point.
Yeah, he was irrelevant jokes, and I was like, "Well, this is certainly a weird irrelevant joke," but yeah, that was definitely a fun memory surrounding that because I think because I was also right around the time the Fallout 4 Quantum soda came out that I gave you a bottle of because I'd gotten it from Target or something.
Didn't you have to go to a couple different Targets to get it?
I don't remember. I think I was able to get them from the one. I think other people were calling around.
That's right.
I went to multiple. I couldn't find it. And then the one time they were yeah, we have it. I pulled into the thing and the dude walked by me out of the store with one, and I was like, that's the last fucking one. I went in there and it was the last fucking one.
Yeah. So I think I remember if that was basically the first time we met was when I gave you one of those bottles, and then a couple of days later or something we got on a plane, but yeah, all that is kind of around the same time. But yeah,
I almost went to that.
That first PAX out was a fun one.
It really was. There's a lot of good memories tied to that, especially even just just it was a good experience. We talked about.
Wait, was this the one where Zyger thought the
painting was a window? That was the painting was a window.
I think that is the undefeated best PAX memory of all time.
Yeah, that came up last time as well. Is that still your pinned tweet?
Not anymore. I finally changed it. It was for 5 years, maybe.
Yeah.
It made it maybe into 2020.
And it was a response tweet or something, so it has a lot of our old Twitter handles
and
in
you
there.
can see all the names as they've changed over the years.
Yeah,
the hyperlink gets deactivated.
Alex Aziz used to be the conductor. Joe used to be Joe.
Something games.
Yeah, something games.
Yeah.
I was Snarky Starkey.
Wow. Yeah.
And so none of the links to our Twitter accounts anymore worked, but your tweet was still there.
What I love is that was a popular, when you look at the analytics, that was a super popular tweet, but then because it was pinned on my thing for 5 years, it's thousands of people have seen this.
Yes.
Or tens of thousands, and I'm just yes.
Yeah, I remember that it got featured on the Colin and Greg Live and stuff at the time.
That was also hilarious.
Yeah, it was a ton of fun. That was a great time. That was there were the 8 of us in that hotel room.
That's what started it all.
That was the beginning of the end. But
Trevor went into
much more manageable now here with only 5 of us, and in a nice little 1-bedroom suite. We've got space. We're good. Not overwhelmed. Nobody's sleeping under tables and stuff like Christian has in the past.
Or in the bathtub.
Yeah, in the bathtub, yeah. Or right in front of the door as a total fire hazard. Yeah.
That's how
good times.
That's how at one of the events, I had got sunburnt and I was trying to go to the bathroom in the middle of the night because the entire floor is covered with people in blankets, and I'm trying to it's dark and I'm trying to step over, and I misstepped over somebody and I slammed my head into the wall. And I'm just that's another PAX memory right there where I go into the bathroom and it cracked the burn on my forehead. Oops. And I was just fuck.
Yeah. How about you, Christian? When did you start going to PAXs?
It was that same year. I'm located down in Texas, so it wasn't always very easy. Well, so to go to East or West wasn't really in the cards for flight, hotels, all that. But South was right in my backyard, so that was a quick drive. And I had met a friend through the Comedy Button, and he let me crash with him, Thomas Rakowitz, who's done music with Brian, and he's just a really good comedian.
The homie.
Yeah, he's the homie. And besides hanging out with him though, my intention was just hey, I've never gone to a PAX, and there's finally one here, so I wanted to go check it out. But then Sean recognized me and picked me up like a lost dog and was like, hey, we're gonna go see, hey, there's all these kind of funny people, come with me, Zyger's there. And I'm like, what's a Zyger? At this point, I still was only listening to the podcast and maybe a YouTube video every now and then. I wasn't watching the morning show or checking out the Twitch chat. He went down a whole list of names. Yeah, the conductor. Who's the conductor? I don't know what any of this means. But he recognized me and was like, hey, let me bring you to some people. And that's how he brought me to you guys. Trevor, you were there too. Frank and Zyger. Yeah, that's where I met Joe, who I'm still friends with to today, and Alex Aziz and the whole list goes on. And yeah,
and you and I had at least hung out at PSX, a month or so earlier.
It's kind of a blur to me.
Yeah, okay. Right. But yeah, that was the PSX in San Francisco was a month or so before all this. And you and I actually first met at the Beyond 400 party that summer or whatever.
Probably
halfway through 2015. And I remember because you were out there filming and stuff. And I remember seeing the video after and being oh, that's a really cool video. And then putting it together when we met up again in December at PSX that year and being oh, you're the guy that did that video. You're Pixel Brave? Oh, that's awesome. And then because you had your camera and you were doing it again for PSX and all that stuff. So yeah, it was really cool to get to hang out with you there at RTX, or not RTX, at PAX South, because that was also the second PAX South.
Wasn't it the first?
This one, 2016, was the second. So if you went the year before, certainly possible, but yeah, the first one we went to was the second year of PAX South.
Maybe I didn't. Yeah, if you look really hard at your MP3, you can see that I'm 32 and my mind is 85 years old inside. All the memories blur, so I will defer to you.
I was telling you guys the other night, I was going through a lot of my old Trevor Trove writings in the lead up to That Nerdy Site, and that PSX in 2015, I'd completely forgotten that Andy stayed in my hotel room with a handful of other people and stuff. I was for some reason in my head I thought I had met him at PAX South that year, but no, we'd been friends at least a few months before that and stuff. So yeah, it was just oh yeah, I've definitely forgotten so much stuff that has happened in some of those early years, and it was 5 years ago. So getting old sucks. I'm sorry, everybody. Don't do it. Die young.
But it's where. But yeah, that's but that's where it all started, and that's where I got to meet a lot of my current friends that I still have now, and that was a lot of fun. And since then, I eventually went on to through. So yeah, so as you said, I did video there, and video got noticed by other outlets, and so that led me to eventually getting to join you guys at South, and I'm not South. Well, I mumble a lot at East and West in future years, in a media capacity, and now I'm still media capacity, but a bit more hands-on, because before it was just like covering B-roll and then like letting into the ether, but now like we have a plan because we're a team, because we're that nerdy site. And so I'm really excited about like how PAX is going this year.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. One of my favorite PAX South memories with you that I want to shout out, Christian,
cool.
involves Whataburger.
Oh my gosh, dude!
I was going to mention
because
that.
we did Whataburger so many times over those couple years that I was doing PAX South, and in particular one year I wasn't even there for this, but you cracked up because what was the joke?
So
do you remember it?
I know
because I got it. If you don't remember,
I know what it is, and I just want to set it up a little bit more. So in Texas, one of the big burger joints chains is Whataburger, and it's for me personally, it's above like your traditional like McDonald's, Burger King. Like for me, I think it's very good, and anyone out of Texas like usually champions it above In-N-Out and this and that. And there's one near PAX South, and so like I think a lot of people, whether they're Texan or visiting Texas, like they want to go to Whataburger, and so there was a big old line, and I was waiting and was so frustrated that I couldn't get it, and so I posted a picture of the line, like. And I don't know what I said, but Bill Zoker, who anyone might be familiar, he did stuff with like Rev 3 and Max Scoville and all that, like, and he's done like video with Crunchyroll. But I was a fan of his editing work because he was an editor, and but he's a super funny guy, and it was such a simple tweet, but something about the simplicity just nailed it and just had me crackling for the rest of the weekend. But I was complaining about Whataburger, and he said more like Win-A-Burger because it was a long line. And something about it just tickled me and just wouldn't stop. Now I am cured. I when I hear it, I smile in nostalgia. But like, I'm sure you've heard me either in a different podcast or in this podcast, or like how I can laugh, and it's a weird kind of laugh, but
it's great. Like it's infectious. Like it's so joyous.
I'm glad you guys like it. I'm honestly a little self-conscious about it, but take my laugh and then like turn it up a little bit, and then don't let it stop.
Yeah,
and
it doesn't end.
And that was my reaction to Win-A-Burger, and like,
and we were in line. Like, he's still in line.
You were like with me.
Yeah, I was standing next to him, and he reads this, and then he just, like, he picks up his phone, and it just dies, and he can't breathe, and he's just laughing, and then he reads it to me, and I'm like, alright, like, but I'm just laughing so much that he's just, like, can't contain himself.
Yeah, I love, like, because you guys came back to the hotel,
yeah,
and, like, relayed that story, and even, like, thinking back on the story,
yeah,
Christian started cracking up again, and I was like, I'm living the moment.
And sometimes just at the mention of it, like, yeah, like I would just start falling into laughter again, and that is a very special PAX memory.
Yeah, it was a good time because, like, especially because one of those things was growing up in Phoenix. Phoenix is one of the few places outside of Texas that also has Whataburgers.
I'm learning.
So, like, I grew up with Whataburger, and it was never a place that my family really went to. We went there occasionally, and my dad liked it every now and then, but it was never like a big special thing to me. So it was like hearing the reverence that people in Texas put towards it. I was just like,
so weird.
I don't get it, guys, but whatever.
It's fine.
It's like spicy ketchup, man. You have fries with the spicy ketchup.
This is like an In-N-Out situation, though, where people swear to God In-N-Out is better in California.
It's In-N-Out, it's Five Guys, it's Whataburger, it's Culver's, it's whatever your regional burger place is. And it's like I like some things from some of these places and not others, whatever. But I'm glad that people love Whataburger. I'm glad people love their spicy ketchup. I'm glad people love jokes about Win-A-Burger because a ton of fun. So Cameron, let's turn it over to you. When did you start going to PAX, and tell us about one of your favorite memories?
Well, I have been a long-time attendee of PAXs, starting back, all the way back actually, at PAX East of 2019.
Yes.
So, a little tidbit about me, if you guys haven't listened to this podcast before, or I haven't been on it. I'm a recent graduate from Arizona State University. I just graduated in spring of 2019. For the years that I decided to, be in the workforce, making actual money, and, living, a life that way, I was not into any of this stuff. And then Greg Miller convinced me to quit my dumb job and go back to school, and also convinced me to spend what little money I had to fly out to San Francisco for Kinda Funny Live 1, where I met everybody, and basically I could afford basically one trip a year.
Mm.
I would literally save for the rest of the year, till the next time around, and then spend my money on my tickets for whatever the date and time was for the Kind of Funny Lives, and that was what I was able to attend. I did not even have enough money to attend PAX South the year that you guys went, because I knew I wouldn't have enough money to go to Kind of Funny Live 2 that year.
Yeah, I think it was 2 that year.
Yeah,
it was like 2
because that's when I met Christian, who slept under the desk of the hotel room that year.
And guys, I love sleeping on the floor, okay? I'm not like...
oh my gosh, stop it.
We're going to get you a bed.
God, was that also the year that Unfriended happened?
Yeah.
Yeah, it was.
I mean, that was just a great moment too, though. Like, that was a wonderful
Well, that's a
time.
Kind of Funny Live
That's
memory.
a Kind of Funny Live
That's a
memory.
different
That
podcast.
doesn't count.
We'll do that one when the Kind of Funny studio tour comes up. We'll talk about our favorite Kind of Funny Live memory.
That's going to be a longer podcast.
Oh, yeah, so much
Absolutely
longer.
will.
But yeah, so I was first able... So I was luckily able, before I joined That Nerdy Site, even originally when I was joining That Nerdy Site, I was not going to be coming on at this capacity. But when I joined That Nerdy Site, before I joined That Nerdy Site, or before That Nerdy Site existed, I was part of a group, and I'm still a contributor there, but I was an editor for a site called Handsome Phantom. You might have heard of them. They at one point had the #1 Fortnite podcast in the world, and on top of that, they are just stellar human beings, wonderful people who took me under their wing. Like, they're like, we got you a pass, you just have to fly out, you'll stay in the Airbnb with us. We don't have a bed for you, so I used cushions to like make my bed on the floor, and for 5 days I ran the ropes, doing as many interviews as possible, like seeing as many games as I could. But it was a great time and a great learning experience. But really, my favorite PAX memory is actually one that I made here at this PAX. I don't have a lot to pull from, guys.
That's fair.
My apologies.
No, absolutely.
Because I love the time that I spent with Handsome Phantom. But when I think about my favorite PAX memories, I'm going to think of the night after PAX, or the night after the first opening day of PAX this year, when we all made a decision. Tonight is the night we're gonna watch Brink. Now, this might seem so recent to you guys, but this is all I've got.
Sure, yeah.
So, and I have wonderful memories with Handsome Phantom, but honestly, I'd save that for a Handsome Phantom podcast. This is about That Nerdy Site. This is about us as a group of core group of friends who have come together finally to do something that Trevor and I probably should have done years ago, which is collaborate. But also, you also lost an episode of my podcast. So
Yep. It was the first lost episode of...
It's the only lost episode.
Awesome!
I mean, you're going to hold that record. Like, you got it.
Yeah, you got it.
You have a lot.
Yep. And that's why I always try and record backups on my end, because
100%.
I don't want to screw up again.
That's right. No, but 100%, being with you guys has been awesome. And for one thing, it was Christian's first time ever saying Brink, which, if you don't know Christian is the purest soul I have ever known in my entire life. Newborn babies aren't born as pure as Christian.
Yeah.
That's also
That
the Wittenberger
was the
laugh,
Wittenberger
by the
laugh,
way.
but for another 30 seconds.
But even maybe full minutes at some points.
Christian is watching
Break the time.
Brink, and he's just like, these young people are lying to their parents. Like, he's lying to his parents.
It's just so unnecessary.
Or it's like, he's getting in trouble with all these kids. Like, he can't get along with his peers. And it's just so good because...
To hear more of my thoughts, we have a whole episode dedicated called D Plus Show, but the 5-second preview of this will be just like me saying, look, one of the opening scenes is that, yes, the bad guys are there at the skate park and they're like, hey, we don't like you, you're jerks, you just get out of here. Is that a bad thing? Absolutely. But what does he do? What does the main character Brink do in retaliation? He gets some adults to start like a fight.
A squad of like 30 to 40 year olds.
That's unproportional.
The coolest dudes I've ever seen.
Yeah.
100%.
Skateboarders.
Yeah.
First off, they were actual skaters, not bladers. And not skate bladers, but also 100%. These are full grown men that, what did he call them? He called them, said you guys are
it wasn't even that bad. He was like, I heard y'all are wusses. Or something.
He's like, you guys are wusses. Wusses, by the way, is repeated multiple times throughout that film. We'll get into it in the D Plus show.
Yes, tune into that D Plus show episode on Brink.
Not a good boy. Not a good boy, that boy. Okay, that's all I'll say.
Brink, he's a troublemaker.
Yeah.
Oh, my
Val. It's like they all are.
Yeah, that'll be a fun episode that we'll record maybe right after this one.
But it's just sitting with you guys watching that film. First off, I remember it frame by frame perfectly, which, as we learned later that night, is not out of it's not the weirdest film that I remember so intimately. But like just sitting here with you guys in this room as an editorial team, but also as just longtime friends, being able to kind of just be here to put in good work and kick ass and take names in the form of the business cards that the people that we talk to give us as we give them ours.
Everybody really likes the business cards.
Business cards are the hot thing, man.
Yeah.
Got a lot of
Thank you again, Fiona McKinnon, for the wonderful logo at Zeranix.
Oh, did she design it?
Yeah, she did that Nerdy Site
She's
logo,
so great. I love Fiona.
Yeah, she and I went back and forth on some stuff. She was like one of the first people to know about that Nerdy Site because I reached out to her asking for some logo work.
She's a great gal.
She is indeed.
Also, her boyfriend sounds like, I don't know, is it still her boyfriend?
I have no idea.
Okay. Anyway, somebody...
Irrelevant.
Sounds like Kevin Coelho.
Okay. Let's throw it to Logan. Logan, you and I already have dedicated a whole episode to some of our favorite memories. Do you have any new ones to add to the list here?
I mean...
this has been a terrible PAX for you?
No, yeah, I mean, like, I've said it before, like, it's been a great PAX. Like, right up there with my very favorite. I think for me, and, like, it's weird too, because, again, spoiler behind the curtain, tomorrow we're going to record a PAX East 2020 impressions thing. But I think for me, it's, like, it's a great crew of guys at this PAX. I think, in terms of just kind of the collective here, I'm really proud and really happy of just kind of the output, the teamwork, I think, and the camaraderie that has been generated over the last 4 days, and with still a day to come. Like Cameron obviously mentioned Brink, but like what I thought he was going to do was the like hour and a half, 2 hour long like conversation on Star Wars that has just continued over every night of PAX. Like we've been talking about Star Wars, right? And like us like talking literally in the bedroom until like almost 1 o'clock in the morning. Like, well, I guess past 1 o'clock in the morning that first night for no reason, just talking about Star Wars and just talking about all these different things and like.
It is the first time a lot of us have been together. Like, the four of us were together when I came out and did stuff for kind of the launch, but Cameron wasn't able to make it. Exactly. So this is the first time Cameron's really been with more than just me kind of in the group since we launched. So,
and I think it's important too because it is that thing of like Cameron already alluded to where it's like, it's such an obvious pairing of people, I think, and not obvious in some ways too. But I think we complement each other so well, right? So for me, like, new for PAX memories is just all of this PAX, right? It is getting to work alongside Frank or Cam or Christian for the first time. Like, I mean, you've done a lot of stuff and been in those press rooms together for years and, like, really just get to see, I think, what each individual person brings to the table, right? And just get to see what, like, dumb, goofy pop culture reference they're going to make and then have it extend into like an hour-long conversation, whether it's Star Wars, whether it's anything else, or digital movies, like...
Or Little Nicky.
Or terrible Adam Sandler movies, too. And, like, I think... Or, like, Cam's conspiracy theories. Like, that's the thing. Like, it's all its own kind of charm and joy, right? Like, the What's Good fiasco that turned into, like, a great night. Like, I think for me... And I think Trevor can maybe relate to this the most too is that like after so many PAXs and after covering like from that perspective too of so many PAXs, I think this is the one where I feel like I felt the most just kind of calm. I felt the most just kind of like at peace at all, like just chill, because I feel like I have such a great crew behind me. I feel like we're doing such cool work, and I feel like we, again, for me and you at least, have like learned so much from every PAX we've covered. And now we're coming out, and it's like, yeah, this has been a great PAX. Like it's that simple for me. Like all of PAX East 2020 is a memory for me. Like I am probably going to end up playing more games than I will ever have played at this PAX, depending on what I do tomorrow. But yeah, like it's just been a really good PAX. Like if I had to pick one memory, I would say the Star Wars one. But if my actual one, to just like all of it, like all the days.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's I very much kind of echo that in that
it's your first one as a team too.
But yeah, it's my first one, like kind of working with a team of people as opposed to when I was just doing Trevor Trope by myself and kind of like pretending I was part of the Irrational Passions team,
sure,
kind of working alongside them in the press room, which was, that was great fun as well. But I am also kind of echoing your sentiment. I'm trying to bring the years of doing this to this group, and one of the things we talked about, I think, on last month's episode, that I had pitched a panel about bouncing back from burnout.
Yeah.
And so burnout is always on the forefront of my mind because I've burnt out twice, and I don't want to burn out with that nerdy side. I don't want any of us burning out. And so I've approached this trying to reinforce with everyone, like, hey, this isn't about the grind of getting the content out first or fastest or the most stuff. A huge chunk of this is one of the few times a year we all get to hang out with so many of our friends. Mm-hmm. Especially, our friends at Irrational Passions or our friends at various other, sites around the internet. It's one of the few events we all get to go to and hang out with all those people. And so I want us to all cherish those moments that we get here, those rare, few and far between moments, and also the moments that we're getting.
I was going to say,
and so the idea that like we originally planned about recording this particular podcast that you're listening to 2 nights ago, but then did get like waylaid or sidetracked with other things, I kind of pretty quickly was like, it's okay. It doesn't. Yeah. We don't need to break ourselves to also stay up another hour and a half and record something and get it out, or kind of like push that grind. It is finding the balance of, we're going to create the content. It's going to be good content. I'm proud of the stuff we're putting together already and the ideas that we have, but it doesn't need to get out while we're here this weekend. It can bleed out over the next week or so, and we can take this weekend to like bring all this stuff in, have all these ideas, have these experiences that we can then talk about and enjoy in the coming week or two, and sharing all that stuff with the community.
I think for me too is the fact that it's important to remember that this is the first ever event that like That Nerdy is covered, right? Like, this is our first PAX, but it's just our first event in general, right? And so it's that thing of like, we're just going, it's set in the kind of like that foundational layer, like to kind of benchmark to hit from this point onwards, and like we're going to learn. I think we already have learned so much about covering PAXs going forward that we'll take for West, and then for next year's East. And for me, ultimately, it's like kind of thing of that. And the fact that, like, whereas me and you might have done this for years, like, this is the first time we're doing it with, like, That Nerdy and, like, doing it as a team kind of thing. And, like, also people who I think each have been kind of open about just the effects of burnout on them, right? And so I think us learning from that and us kind of recognizing that as two people who I think are very, 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 very highly ambitious and have lots of things they want to do and have a lot of things they want to achieve, but I've also seen kind of the negative side effects of that at times too. And I think it's recognizing that ultimately, like, I've had PAXs where like they've just gotten lost in the spiral of like, we're not doing enough, it's not doing enough things, and you just kind of like begin to feel bad about that, and then you just can't kind of break out of that. And like, this is one where it's like, I went in and was like, I don't need this as like a big showcase for like That Nerdy, and also I want to see the five of us work together as a team, right? Because like me, Frank, and Christian all live in the same city, and you and Cameron live in the same city, but the five of us are separated by 1,000 miles, right? Like 2 time zones at certain points in times in the year. And so we don't get to work as a team much. And even outside of this, like we might have like an RTX or PAX West kind of thing, or like whatever Action Life Anniversary thing might be, but like it's few and far between, and so it's like enjoying that. And I think so many ideas and projects and brainstorming sessions are had in person over a 4 or 5 day stretch that just are hard to kind of match on all the months where we're not actually in person together, right? And I think again, it's learning, I think, for me and Triv in particular, to enjoy the moment a bit more, right? Like, certainly for me, that's where I'm at, where it's like, enjoy the moment of PAX, right? Like, I talked about it before, kind of before off recording, where I was like, Thursday felt like it took so long, but like in the best way possible, right? Because I was out there playing so many games, and me and Frank were doing stuff, and me and you were doing stuff, and like me and Christian were out there doing things, and like, just doing so many things with so many people, like, it was like a perfect PAX day. Just like, yeah, like that was great content wise, that was great for playing games wise, and it was great for just like being with all of us wise. And I think that if this is the just like benchmark standard what a PAX should be, then I'm fairly confident and content of like that nerdy going forward in terms of what we would do and achieve. Because ultimately, to your point, like, the content's going to happen. The content's going to come out. The content's going to be really good. Like, some of the ideas that Frank and Christian have cooked up and are going to do, like, I'm super excited to see the final product of that. And then me, Trevor, and Cam can talk to a microphone endlessly for, like, hours at end. But it's, yeah, like, all those smaller moments of, like, I don't get to talk to have the Fibers talk for 3 hours about Star Wars every single night, most, days of the week. So that's kind of the most important thing for me.
Yeah. I have two new memories that are, I think, of note to add to kind of the list that Logan and I spoke about last time, because I've now been on not one but two panels. I originally was invited onto the Irrational Passions panel talking about the best and most annoying RPG tropes. And that was coming out here, I was like, that's awesome. I'm going to get to be on my first panel. I'm going to get to do it with the Irrational Passions team, and that's going to be amazing. But before we even got to that, I went to the SDGC panel about the ranking the Final Fantasy spin-offs the other day, Thursday night. After, as you kind of touched on, like a long, great day of creating stuff. I was ready to sit down and unwind. Their panel was like right at the end of the day, at the end of like the expo hall day kind of stuff. So it was like, cool, I'm going to get to just enjoy and watch some friends talk about Final Fantasy. That's going to be a great time. And so we're in there, 15 minutes beforehand, they invited us in, so we kind of got to sit in there and joke with them before the rest of the panel audience started coming in. And John Phipps, Mr. Megative on Twitter, who he and I have mutually bonded over our love of Final Fantasy VI for a couple years now, I think. He basically came over and was like, hey, one of our people couldn't make it, their flight got delayed, so come be on our panel now. and so
right before my eyes.
Exactly, right in front of Cameron. So with 10 minutes notice, I was suddenly on my first panel at PAX, a day before the Irrational Passions one. And it was a panel that I had wanted to be a part of anyway. I had reached out to them when they put out the call, but I reached out to them 8 hours after the tweet, and I had not seen the tweet 30 minutes later of, oh, we're already full, thanks.
There you go.
So it was great fun to get to be on there. There was a lot of great response from the people who attended, especially for the fact that I had zero time to prepare for that one. But then also that was great, and that was a fun little warm up. I didn't have time to be stressed or anything about that. But the Irrational Passions one in particular, just means so much. And I was so honored and humbled to be a part of that. Thank you to Scott White for inviting me to be part of it, and Alex O'Neill, of course, from Irrational Passions. Alex, I tweeted about this the other day, but Alex was one of the very first people I met at the very first Kind of Funny Live, right there alongside Cameron and Sean Pitts. And I tried for like half an hour last night
Yeah,
at the bar, scrolling through Twitter to try and find like the first picture we all took together in an Uber on the way to Wing Wings.
I was not in that picture.
You were not in that picture?
That was Jacob Lately.
Okay, I mean, I remember it was Jacob Lately, but I didn't remember that you were.
Because I flew in the very next day.
Okay, well, I was looking for like any random like combination of our handles, either current or old Twitter handles, and I just couldn't find that picture.
It would have been the photo that you took of all of us on the street when we were trying to walk to.
I could have found that one too, yeah. But this was the one. Like I wanted to find the first picture I had with Alex, couldn't find it, so I settled on a couple others of us from over the years. But George Cruz Alvarez from Irrational Passions had done some great social posts, and so he had one because Alex and I were sitting next to each other for this panel, and he had one of like the two of us up there. And I kind of posted all those pictures of like Alex and I over the years and kind of this incarnation. And he is one of the people that inspired me. The fact that he was doing Don't Break the Chain back when I met him then, where he was writing every day, inspired what would later become Trevor Trove's kind of like version of that, writing and publishing something for that site every day. And yeah, ultimately it burnt me out, as I think it did him as well for how long he did it. But
and the two of you inspired me to run a podcast nonstop without taking a break for 4.5 years.
Yeah, well, I tried to give you a break by losing an episode for you, Cameron, but you didn't take the message. Gosh. Getting to kind of be up there alongside him was such a personal moment for their first panel. Because I know how much work he's put into Irrational Passions. I know how much he cares about it. I know how much he cares about PAX in particular. It's like one of his favorite shows. And so to get to be up there alongside him, I've always been super proud of Alex, but like it was great to be able to share that moment with him. And it's a moment I'll never forget. And I just kind of beam with pride looking at kind of the journey that we've taken over the last 5 years together. Because he was on that road long before I was, and I just have kind of been trying to like he was very much an inspiration for Trevor Trove and now That Nerdy Site, and so it was great to get to share that and be a part of that with him and the whole Irrational Passions crew. Mm-hmm. So that is certainly a worthy addition to my personal PAX memories that I wanted to highlight. I want to give, because I realize we kind of like strayed away, so I want to give Christian and Frank opportunities to give a couple more of maybe their favorite memories, if you have any favorite PAX memories that you otherwise want to highlight.
You got anything, Christian?
I don't want to call them favorite because I'm too literal and
everyone's going to judge you and say, why am I not your favorite PAX memory?
No, but I'll just say, like...
Tell us some great PAX memories.
No, I really liked one... I'll give some specific examples, but before that, I'll preface with that. One thing I'm really enjoying about working with That Nerdy Site is that it gives me a chance to interact with games and developers in a way that I don't usually get to. I love being behind the scenes, behind the cameras. I'm a very shy boy, very timid, and I love... like checking out games, but I don't want to get even 5 feet close to the booth because then I know they're gonna try to pull me in and get me to grab the controller and play the game. But now with That Nerdy Site, I'm rolling with Cameron. We're gonna go check out what's that Winter More. We're gonna go check out this VR thing because he gets to be in front of the camera and I just get to, and so then I get to interact with these games and these developers in a comfortable, in a way that suits my personality. And whereas before, I would always have to put extra distance between myself and games if I wanted to check them out because I was, too self-conscious or too shy to interact. But now I do have the support of a team and can share ideas afterwards. Like before, it was just like I would have these impressions that just keep them to myself. But now I can share these thoughts a bit more with a team, and so I'm really enjoying that. I am getting to enjoy games even more in a new way that I've always wanted to, but didn't know how. Like, how do I bridge this gap? And how do I do it? Like by joining this team. Yeah. So
glad to have you.
I love it.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
How about you, Frank? Any other highlights, memories you want to?
There's a lot, really. I mean, we've all, or at least especially like us, we've been to a ton of these, and there's so many great memories, I think, tied to them. Like, meeting people and getting to know people and just making memories together, and especially kind of like we touched on before too. Like, there's so many of these long periods, stretches in between where you can only like hang out online. So it's always great to like come together, and that's where that's why I've also really enjoyed about this PAX. Like 2020 is probably PAX East 2020 is probably like one of my favorites of all time, just for kind of a lot of the reasons we've all been talking about here. I think we're all on kind of the same page with this one, but it's been a really great show so far. And the other thing I guess that does kind of come to mind too was going back to PAX West 2019. This is the most recent. Before this, I guess besides South. That was a really cool event too, because that was the first time like I had taken a break from PAXs for a while, just because like it was tougher to just get time off to come out, like especially for like a week or whatever at a time. But I was finally able to get back in with PAX West 2019, and that was amazing to just get back out there and get to see a bunch of the people I hadn't seen in forever. And bring even some of the Austin friends that I had made, like that was their first like PAX really, so it was cool to kind of like bring them with and get to introduce them to a ton of the kind of funny people. Like they came to the house party that we did.
Yeah.
I guess I don't know if you've already mentioned this too, but I guess now that does remind me, PAX West, the traditional house party that we've done for the last couple years.
Yeah, those have been fun.
Yeah, like with the paint can, and like those are treasured PAX memories. Even if you start to forget them, like.
Yeah. Even if half the night is blacked out, whatever.
Yeah, and like so, there's definitely like a lot of those memories, and I like especially like there's so many of those like party moments and just good bonding experiences between everybody. But those are like something I still look forward to, and even I know with PAX West this year, there's going to be probably a house party with the paint can somewhere. So
Yeah, that is one of the things that. Even as I talked about like wanting us to find a balance, I also recognize that because we've kind of come back here and been like at home base kind of every night this week, we're not out there celebrating at the parties and being at the Western or something like we might have been in other years. So it's something that even that still I know needs to be tweaked, and we need to kind of find a better way of managing that. And maybe that's we should have done other of these podcasts had them pre-recorded, so we weren't having to worry about them, or whatever the case may be. But yeah, it's like those parties are always fun. Logan kind of touched on like a lot of us were at the What's Good Games meetup last night, which was a great time to unwind and hang out with people in that community, as well as the ladies from What's Good Games, who one of which is Rihanna now.
I was just
who was the
awesome.
kind of one of the hosts of those PAX West house parties.
Yeah.
So it's that's another one. Like I've loved over the years at various events like this one, getting to see our friends get elevated and get kind of promoted into those roles. So like getting to see her announced as an official kind of part-time member of What's Good today was another great. Has nothing to do with that nerdy site or any of this stuff we're doing here, but it's somebody I've known for years and we've known in the community for years. Getting to see them kind of moving one step closer to their dreams is another great joy. So, and
it's cool to see how excited everybody was when they announced it in the panel, and like that's probably the loudest applause of the panel. Like for anything, everybody's just like absolutely, and we're all like so thrilled. Like, and that was kind of something I feel like that has been a big showing in PAX East 2020. Especially like when you look back at like 2016 or 2017, or going back to those early days where you're like, oh, this is the first time I met Alex, and it's like. We've come so far since then, and there's still like a long road ahead. Yeah. But it's like it's so wild to just sit here and look back and just be like, oh wow, it's really been a crazy couple years, and people have really people you got to know, and oh, this person's super talented or this person's great, like they're really going to make it. And people are getting there, hitting these stepping stones, and Irrational Passions had their panel, and you were on their panel, and kind of like we were talking about there, and we were all in that panel room too, and that's amazing. Like they packed out that entire theater. Yeah, that's amazing. Yeah,
compared to some of the other panels I've attended, I'm like, I think that one was the most well attended of the ones I've been to this year, which is incredible. And it might be a trick because of the room size difference or something like that, but it felt like there were more people in that room than some of the other ones, and that's another thing that's just breathtaking and super exciting for everything, and kind of I think with that sentiment, like, this is only the beginning for us. I can't wait until we have a panel or multiple panels that shows. I've definitely got ideas, and we'll continue to pitch various ideas and stuff. So I think we've got a lot of fun opportunities ahead of us. We're only going up from here.
That was the one for me that Frank kind of touched on too, is just, I think one of the best things about kind of the community that we surround ourselves in and are part of is the champion of our friends and kind of just people around us whenever they kind of have these awesome things happen to them and they have these great successes, right? And it isn't, I think, this feeling of like, well, how come it's them and not me? How come it's whatever? Or any sort of like jealousy or like disappointment. It's like, no, like that very cliched state of like being best friends is also one that runs very deep and kind of very true. And I think you are just happy for them, right? You are just kind of, I think, really proud whether it's like Andy Cortez, whether being the first one down, like them kind of graduating these awesome, cool positions, right? And like obviously as somebody who like worked alongside with him, was a part of the IP crew for years, it was like to sit in the front row, now no longer part of IP obviously, but just to watch him have this great moment that like knowing they've been working on, knowing they've been building towards for so many years, was very, very, I think, cool and humbling. And yesterday, I think in particular, was a super, like, proud day for me, right? Where it was, like, Alex, obviously, and Scott, and IP in general, like, and seeing George crush it and kill it and be just very nervous energy George. Seeing Mike just absolutely, again, crush and rock, recording it and filming everything. Sitting in the front row next to Jarrett, right, who, like, I don't work with like every day anymore like you used to, but like getting to like be like these like guys just heckling everybody else in the front row, and just having a lot of fun with that, and like again knowing how much they've built towards it, right? But in the same vein, having you up there too, who is right up there as like the most important person of the last like half decade, and see you kind of be on your second panel in like 48 hours or 24 hours, I guess.
Yeah.
And just have that shot of like all of you guys together, and like Reb too, because I'm also super close with like Reb and all the people, and like have people who have been such big, I think, supporters and friends in the industry, all on the same panel together, was such a great moment of just like, yeah, like where IP's gone in the last like decade, like where that nerdy's like starting at, and then just like from a personal perspective too, like the different sort of people who've been such major influences and impacts on my life, and see them have such an awesome moment together in a packed out room of people. It was a very cool thing, and I think it is continuously one of the things that makes me most proud to be in this community, and that I'm still kind of like leaves me in awe every day too, is just like how supportive we are of each other and how much we read each other on, how much we, I think, push each other to kind of be the best versions we can be of ourselves, but not in any sort of like negative way, but just like having that support and having that love and having the knowledge of like, if you fall, if you stumble, if you do something wrong, like there are people there to like, I'll pick you up and dust you off and kind of have you go on to the next hurdle, which I think also feeds back into the burnout conversation from before too, where like all of us have had, I think, moments of feeling burnout and just kind of creatively frustrated, right? And there's always someone there to like metaphorically or literally like answer the call, and I think that's something that I've always been really grateful of too.
Yeah, I think we certainly, like, one of the great facets of our community is that it very much fits that rising tide lifts all boats kind of mentality. What's good for one of us is great for all of us. Yeah. That's certainly one of the things that I think we've all tried to embody and embrace in the last few years in this community. And I think so much of that comes from the maybe the figurehead of our community being someone like Greg Miller, who really tries to espouse and teach that with and through Kind of Funny, and it is that like best friends is really about being best friends, and like that's manifested in something like That Nerdy Site, where 5 years ago none of us knew each other, but because of this community, we're all here, we're all doing this together. and we've we're starting to grow this
Yeah.
thing of our own.
Yeah.
Is really cool, and so much of that DNA is tied to things like PAX and various other events. So I can't wait to make more memories with all y'all.
Yes.
Yeah, absolutely.
So
Because without these last 5 years, I don't know where the fuck I'd be. I'd be dead on the street
somewhere. Yeah.
I'd be still working in the bowels of call centers somewhere.
Yeah. Be a different life for all of us. I'm sure.
Yeah.
Thank God they quit IGN.
I was there. Yeah. Schmucks over there,
I think that's going to wrap up this episode. Thank you, everybody, for joining me. Let's go around and kind of make some of our plugs. Frank, you can follow Frank at Irrelevant Jokes. Anything here? Let's talk PAX East specific plugs. It can be things that we've got in the hopper or things we're planning on putting in the hopper, because obviously some of the stuff will not be out by the time this episode goes live yet. But what are some things from PAX East 2020 that you want to plug, Frank?
Yeah, so there's definitely going to be a bunch of content we're working on, all going up on at least what I'm working on, will be going up on our YouTube channel, youtube.com/thatnerdysite. The main thing I definitely want to, plug, I guess, would be the Animal Crossing preview that you and I recorded. I definitely had a good time with that, and I'm excited to get in and edit that together. I also will highlight, I'm not in this one, but I will be kind of producing it. We did a great Doom Eternal preview with Logan and Jarrett. I'm sorry if I stole yours now that I think about it in hindsight. But yeah, that was awesome to get in and film with you guys, and I'm excited to also put that together with some Doom footage, and just I think that's going to be really awesome. Plus, like I said, there's tons more content, but that's what I'm excited about.
Yeah. You follow Christian at Pixel Brave. What do you want to shout out, Christian?
Well, I also produce a show called The Anime Pod, which you can follow on Twitter at That Anime Pod. As far as anything produced this week, that's all coming up. I'm here with That Nerdy Site, but I'm also on assignment with What's Good Game, which is taking up a lot of my time during the week. But tomorrow I'm not on assignment, so I'll be making up for lost time. And so I don't have anything announced yet, but tomorrow I will finally be doing a bit more collaboration. But as something the few things I can say is at least I have some B-roll footage of Red Lantern for Logan, Wintermore. I keep forgetting the name. Wintermore.
It's Wintermore. Yeah.
Wintermore with Cameron, as well as what is it? The
what
VR?
Was the VR one?
Oh, Until You Fall.
Until You Fall, and so those are really fun to shoot. And so I'm looking forward to seeing those. And just in general, it's cool to have another video guy with me, like Frank, because I feel less bad that I can't shoot everything, because Frank's really been taking it, absorbing as much knowledge as he can, and I've been so happy to have someone to share these skills with, because I want more people to enjoy video, and Frank is really excited about picking up tips and things like that. So it's been fun sharing that experience with him. But yeah, so tomorrow we will see what I can cover with you guys.
Great.
And also, if you use the codes PAXFriends on IGN Store, you will get a discount.
That is true.
So
Our sponsored ad reading.
Yeah.
So that's a
We
plug.
buried that ad lead,
15% discount. I checked it during the panel.
Yeah.
So that's my plug.
Nice. You can follow Cameron at Rev Cabot. Anything you want to shout out, Cameron?
Yeah, I do. I'm going to have some cool pieces going up from PAX in the next, by the time you listen to this, probably, unless you hit it early.
We'll see, because you'll if you're a Patreon supporter, you'll hopefully be getting this tomorrow as we're recording it.
Yeah.
Does that still count as March 1st, or are you talking about March 2nd?
I'm talking March 1st.
We're after midnight.
Yeah.
Well, we're all after midnight. I have some really cool pieces, including a really fun video that Christian and I put together for Until You Fall. I'm going to redistribute the, pitching on that to you guys. We started off being very fun, and I had a really good time on it. I think I have sufficiently, I did my best to give, a lot of, good movements with the wands, because it's a VR title. So I hope I look both incredibly handsome and agile, as my natural form would dictate and suggest.
Certainly. Great.
Yeah.
You can follow Logan at Lefty Logie. What do you want to shout out, Logan?
Yeah, pulled up my thing. So we'll have, as Frank mentioned, the Doom Eternal video with me and Jared, which is a ton of fun to do. And again, just to do some sort of collaboration with Jared again, which is nice to get back in the old input grind there. We'll have the Red Lantern conversation that me and you just recorded earlier today. My Fall Guys written preview went live earlier today as well, so you can go check that out the minute you get done listening to this. I really liked that game a lot. It was a ton of fun. We'll maybe check it out again tomorrow. And then in addition to that, there will be a video discussion of The Artful Escape tomorrow, probably with you and Frank potentially. Something on Fogs maybe too. I don't know if it's written, video, whatever.
Yeah.
It's a very fun multiplayer game. And then there's still 3 or 4 more titles I want to go check out tomorrow.
Yeah.
That will all have potential written and video features as well. And really just check out all of the amazing PAX East content. I think, like Christian just kind of alluded to, I think we've each kind of done really unique, cool stuff on our own. I'm excited to see what Cameron does, what Christian's doing, Frank is doing. I'm always impressed with whatever Trevor does, so it's going to be a ton of fun to check out all of the different diverse content at PAX, all the video written stuff, and all the podcasts. So just check all of it out over at That Nerdy.
Great. You can follow me at Trevor J. Starkey. I'm going to shout out a couple things that I think have not made the cut yet. Cameron and I, a couple days ago, sat down and talked about Final Fantasy VII Remake, because I had played that back at PAX West, and he got to play it here for the first time, so there should be a video up on that at some point in the near future. We're going to try and do kind of day-by-day breakdowns of everything we touched on and played, as well as the regular episode of That Nerdy Site show this week will kind of be a full PAX 2020 recap that we'll discuss. And I'll go ahead and shout out, whenever it goes live, I don't know when it's going to be, but Irrational Passions did record the RPG Tropes episode, or the panel that we were part of. So check that out when it goes live on their channel as well, because, again, super proud of them. It's been a great time. So, check out everything on thatnerdysite.com. We have a special kind of PAX link up there in the menu that you can go and find kind of everything we've been putting out there, everything we've been tagging with PAX, and everything we will continue to tag with PAX. So that's going to do it. You can follow all of us over at That Nerdy Site. Check out, like I said, thatnerdysite.com for all of the latest stuff. If you did like what you heard, please rate, review, like, subscribe. And if you're not already a Patreon supporter, please consider patreon.com/thatnerdysite. We greatly appreciate it. If you're a patron, you get early episodes like this a month before anybody else. So thank you all for joining me.
Yeah.
Thank you for listening. And as always, stay nerdy and be good to each other.
Brinks the Time Cat.